welcome back. Welcome back.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the countdown. Today is part 2 of the top 40 countdown. Now, last week I gave you my movies that I ranked number 40th all the way up to 21. Today we're going to go from 21 all the way up to number 1. My number 1 movie that I saw this past year. And without further ado, away we go.
And away we go.
Number 20, Luther, Fallen Sun. For those familiar with the Luther television show out of Britain, you're going to love this. For those of you who are not, I still think you might like it. Stars Idris Elba. He plays Luther. He plays him in a TV show as well. He's a detective in London, kind of like a maybe modern-day Sherlock Holmes. He solves the tough cases. Andy Serkis plays the villain. Does a great job, as he always does. Definitely worth your time, especially if you're a fan. Number 19, Pale Blue Eye. This is a period piece. Takes place in the 1800s. Christian Bale, he's the detective. He's called to West Point Military Academy to solve a series of brutal murders. He runs across a young Edgar Allan Poe, and together they try to solve these mysterious, brutal crimes happening on the West Point Military Academy campus. Really, really dark movie. It's not an easy or happy watch, but definitely a good movie. Number 18, Barbie. This is the highest grossing film of the year, made way over $1 billion. Very divisive film. People love it, they hate it. They take all kinds of different messages out of it. It's definitely a feminist movie. It's definitely a bit woke. I don't really think it's over the top with it. Sometimes it is. I did enjoy it. It's not meant for me. It's not made for a 53-year-old guy, but you know what? I did find it enough.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Number 17, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Probably the best Marvel movie that's been out in a while. It's the third part of the Guardians series. Good movie. Not great, but good. Same cast is back. They're all great. Chris Pratt's always great. If you like the first two, you're definitely going to like this one.
So what's next?
Number 16, Megan, or Mithrigan, depending on how you read the title. This is a horror movie from earlier in the year about an animatronic robot that comes to life and becomes sentient and starts a killing spree. Fun movie. Probably going to get sequels because it made a boatload of money. I thought it was a lot of fun. Pretty violent. Acting's pretty good. Premise of the movie's pretty good. Definitely worth seeing. At number 15, Creed Part 3. This is the third movie in the Creed franchise, the first without Sylvester Stallone playing Rocky Balboa. Kind of suffers a little bit because of that, but it's a decent movie. The acting is good, the fight scenes are good. I don't know if we need any more Creed films at this point, but solid film.
Solid.
Number 14, Evil Dead Rise. I have to admit, I thought this movie was going to suck. I thought this was going to be your typical modern day. We're going to replace the male character with a better, stronger, wiser, greater female character. But it really isn't that. Yes, it is a female movie, female-led movie, but it's really well done. It's scary. It's creepy as hell. It's exactly what you would want out of an Evil Dead movie. I was so pleasantly surprised by this. Very enjoyable. Number 13, Super Mario Brothers. After Barbie, this movie made the most money of any movie this past year. I am familiar with the Donkey Kong Mario Brothers universe to an extent. If you're really familiar, if you're a gamer and you play these movies, you're going to love this because it apparently is filled with a ton of Easter eggs. But if you're like me and you just have a passing knowledge, you're still going to enjoy this movie. You have great voiceover work by Christopher Pratt and Charlie Day. Also Jack Black, he's hysterical, as he usually is. It's fun. It's not, the greatest movie ever, but it's a lot of fun. There are worse ways to spend 2 hours.
Suppose there are worse ways to spend a Friday night?
Number 12, Killers of the Flower Moon. I was a little disappointed in this film. I love this book. It's one of my favorite books. The movie's decent. The acting's superb. The cinematography is superb. It is long as hell. And it kind of drags at times. I wanted to love it, but instead I just liked it. Number 11, Talk to Me. Talk to Me is a small budget horror movie out of Australia, but I have to tell you, it's one of the most original horror movies that I've seen in a long, long time. It deals with possession. These kids find this mummified hand, and if you touch it, you see ghosts, and if you say, talk to me, the ghost can briefly possess you. I know that they're going to do sequels to this because it did so well, and I don't even mind that, because I'd really like to learn more about this universe. I love this movie. It's probably the best horror movie that I saw in 2023, without a doubt. And now, let's get into the top 10.
Top 10. Mm-hmm. That's all right.
At number 10, A Man Called Otto. Based off the Swedish book, A Man Called Ove, which, if you haven't read, you should. It's one of the best books I ever read it multiple times. In this movie, the American version, you have Tom Hanks playing the Otto character. He's a curmudgeon old man, very particular about pretty much everything. His neighbors don't like him, but a new family moves across the street, and the wife, for some reason, is drawn to him and helps draw him out to become a better person, a more loving person. It's pretty heartfelt, pretty emotional, fairly sad at times. The book is obviously better because the book's always better. Just that they can never put everything from the book into the movie. But this is a decent adaptation. It's not perfect. There are things in the book that I like a lot better. But I very much enjoyed this movie. Well acted, well done. Number 9, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This is the second part of the Miles Morales storyline, the Miles Morales version of Spider-Man. The animation is fantastic. The story's decent. It's drags at times, and it just kind of ends. It's definitely a setup for a sequel, but it's still probably the best superhero movie of the last year and a half, 2 years. Number 8, Equalizer Part 3. Denzel Washington is back as the Equalizer, and he's great as always. This movie is a bit of like a Western. You know, the man with no name comes to the town. The town's being controlled by a criminal element. He reluctantly helps the town folk free themselves because he falls in love with the people in the town. Pretty violent film. First Equalizer is a great film. The second one is kind of weak. This one is outstanding. Number 7, Master Gardener. This was a art house type film I saw at the Ritz. Stars Joel Edgerton. He's a master gardener. He runs this rich woman's garden. Rich woman is played by Sigourney Weaver. But as you go into the movie more, you learn more about the characters, and it gets pretty dark. He takes a young woman under his wings. She's the granddaughter of Weaver's character. She has some baggage herself. They fall in love, which is kind of a little bit strange considering things that are in this guy's past. I don't want to spoil it. You'll see yourself. I very much recommend it. It's a bit of a dark film at times, but worth your time. Number 6, The Sound of Freedom. Somehow, one of the most controversial films of the year. It's about child trafficking. This man's children get kidnapped. This American Special Forces guy decides to help out. He leads a group into the jungles where there's these slavers and child traffickers to help rescue these kids. It's definitely a throwback film, like an 80s, 90s type film. It's a one and done. There's never going to be a sequel to it. I thought it was great. Put aside everything you heard about it. Put aside any of your political leanings. Watch the movie. Judge it yourself. Top 5 time.
Top 5, all time.
At number 5, Gran Turismo. Another movie that really didn't do that well, but what a great story. David Harbour stars in it. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite actors. It's about a young man in Britain. He is a video gamer, doesn't have much going on in his life, is kind of estranged from his father because of it. By playing video games, he's recruited to become a real-life race car driver. David Harbour's character trains him. It's nothing earth-shattering. It's your, typical, you have David Harbour's character, he's a wannabe former star, he never quite made it. Now he's going to try to take this kid to the top. But man, it's so well done. I've been recommending this movie to everybody. You should check it out too. Number 4, John Wick Keanu Reeves. What a career. Ups and downs since the 80s. I remember seeing him as a teenager in, what was that? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He's now the badass assassin John Wick. This movie is one of the best choreographed action movies you will ever see. The set pieces, they're brilliant. Yeah, it's a little unrealistic at times. John takes a bit more of a beating than you would think he could survive. But does he survive? Who knows? Just great. All the characters are great. All the action is great. It's so much fun. Definitely a great film. And number 3, The Holdovers. Saw this film last month. It's a period piece, takes place in the early 70s. Paul Giamatti, he plays a school teacher who everybody hates. He's stuck staying at the school over the Christmas break, taking care of these kids who have nowhere else to go. He winds up with this one kid who is the only one left at the school after a few days, and they develop a strong friendship, a strong bond. He mentors him. The kid who plays the one guy left over, it's his first time in a role. You would never believe it because he's so brilliant. It's a bit sad at times. It's actually really sad at times. So if you're looking for a well-acted, well-done, well-written movie about just regular people trying to get through life, definitely check it out.
Well, there are only 2 left.
And here we are at the top 2. For me, these 2 movies were just head and shoulders better than anything I saw the entire year. It wasn't even a close match between 2 and 3, but it's a very close match between 1 and 2. I went back and forth on this till I finally made a decision. And here it is. At number 2, Oppenheimer. This is Christopher Nolan's biopic of Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. Came out last summer, and somehow a 3-hour plus biopic about a man from the Second World War made close to $1 billion. That just goes to show you how starved we are for good films. How this ever happened, I don't know. Probably the tie-in with the whole Barbenheimer thing really helped. It's a typical Nolan film in that it's just amazing. The cinematography and the shots and the practical effects. The acting, everybody's fantastic. If Cillian Murphy doesn't win, I'm not saying nominate it for the Academy Award. If he doesn't win the Academy Award for Best Actor, it's a travesty. This film should also win Best Picture. I can't imagine any other film beating it in terms of award-type films. Nolan should win Best Director. It's long, like I said, but some of the effect scenes, like the atomic bomb test, it's breathtaking. It's breathtaking how well it's shot. It's breathtaking how well it's done.
Who wins?
And finally, my number one film of the year, the best film I saw in 2023 is Godzilla Minus One. I'm shocked by this. I thought that there was no way that this film would be this good. First trailers I saw, I was like, oh, cool, Godzilla. Yeah, I like Godzilla. I'll see this. And then I saw it. The monster's almost secondary in this. And don't get me wrong, an atomic fire-breathing dinosaur destroying Tokyo is not going to play second fiddle to anybody, but the acting in this is spectacular. The characters, every one of them that you meet, you fall in love with. They're so well developed. It's so well done. The effects, this movie was made on a $15 million budget, and it puts movies made on $200-300 million budgets to shame. I can't say enough. A friend of mine said it earlier this week. This movie had no business being as good as it was, but yet here we are. It, to me, is the best movie I saw of the year. I think that everybody should see it. Even if you're not into the monster movies, if you're like, I'm not into Godzilla, see it anyway. Because the acting is great. The stories are great. The characters are fantastic. It's brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant film. Well, listen, I had so much fun doing this. I really did. I really hope you enjoyed my top 40 countdown. If you don't agree with anything or everything I say, let me know in the comments. We could, duke it out a little bit respectfully. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Leave a comment. Share this video with friends and enemies alike. I thank you for giving me your valuable time, and I'll see you next week. And keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.